So, I am so happy to introduce to my listeners a new guest today, to Kim Damagard. And Kim is a mother of three. She is an author, an artist, crypto investor. I know nothing about that. And husband to Ollie Dammegard, who does a lot of work supporting his work. So, a big welcome today, Kim. How is life with you?
Good and confusing at the same time. Really good, and also a bit confusing this time of my life, I think. Being born in the mid 60s, we had the youngest one of our three. She moved out in February.
Wow.
So I didn't think I was going to react so hard. I thought, oh, this is going to be great. Now it's just me and Ole, and we can do whatever we want. I got no responsibility. So three kids are happy doing their own thing. But, I felt a bit lost, to tell you the truth. I was like, and then because I have more time and not focusing on solving and organizing, even though they've been, um, not 5 years old for some time now, but stuff comes up that I haven't dealt with or looked at. And I'm like, okay, time for healing. And also looking at what do I want to do and where do I want to be and spend my time? How can I be useful for my community? So yeah, it's all good and confusing.
Oh, I love it so much, and I'm with you on all of that. I mean, we're about the same age, going through the same sort of things in terms of my life. My children, I've got two children, both have left home, and I found it incredibly difficult. Again, I really didn't think I would, but I was blubbing away like anything because it's like such the end of an era, isn't it? And even though my daughter with her career, she's back for a few weeks here, a few weeks there, each time it's like, wow, this is just such a stark reality of how life moves on and how much things changed. And we're going to have a discussion today, and I'm really hoping it would be the first of many on sort of life unfiltered and what we're all going through. Because I think, Kim, you've got a brilliant Substack and brilliant website, Awaken Unite. And obviously I will put the links to everyone below. And you express yourself so beautifully in art, like we see behind you, in your writing, and in the way that you talk about the things that we're all going through. Because at the moment, sort of our communities, you have probably been in it a lot longer than most of us with the work that Ole and yourself do with looking at the false flags, looking at who's really controlling the decisions in the world. Once people start on this journey that people call awakening, it can be so confusing, can't it, to hold that vibration and not fall into a fear state.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And I see it, especially when the pandemic happened. I call it the pandemic because
Same
it
here.
was.
Yeah.
And, we've been working, 24/7 together for the last 26 years, me and Ole. But even before I met him, this is actually before the internet, I got into David Icke's books.
Mm.
Well, the first book he wrote was Robert's Rebellions. And I was so flabbergasted because I thought, oh my God, this is a guy that has actually put into words what I have felt since I was a teenager, really. I've always felt we've been had in some ways. But then I got so angry, I got frustrated, I just wanted to stand on the roof screaming, everybody needs to know this, but nobody wanted to know. So when the pandemic happened, everybody, Ola's been working against the wind for his entire life, being shut down and nobody wants to know and everything like that. So, but when COVID happened, people came like a tsunami wanting to know suddenly. And I'm like, okay, this is great because now people are waking up like popcorn. And when it's popped, you can't take it back. So it was an interesting time, but also I saw a lot of fear. It was a fear pandemic more than anything. And people stepped into that and also the frustration with their co-workers or
Yeah.
loved ones, family and relatives. And it was these two camps, which it was heartbreaking to see actually the judgment going on between the two. but also I think because people, when they get informed, and I don't like to have the word awake, because then you're kind of putting down the other ones. I like to call it more informed, or you can call it whatever you want. But you want to shove that information down people's throat, and that doesn't work at all. I've been in it myself and gone through it, and I think everybody needs to, and there's timing for everybody else. So I don't really feed people that kind of information anymore. I ask questions. Because when you ask questions, your subconscious mind is working 24/7 to solve that. So if you ask a question about anything and they haven't got the answer, or they start, no, I don't believe in that, or whatever, I'm not like, okay, then I leave it. But I know the seed has been planted in the subconscious mind to actually solve it. So that's the way I do it at the moment. If somebody, I don't really talk about the madness that goes on in the world, but there's so many other things that we can touch on as well. But there, I feel there's timing for everybody, and let's not push it. And I also see it as, it's like we're on a train and we bought the ticket, but some people are still at the station.
Yeah.
And they want to be at the station. They don't want to go on this ride, So, and I can't really help them. And people say, yeah, but Kim, you have to save them. Yeah, I did try a little bit around COVID, because I'm born in the mid-60s and I'm unvaxxed, and that's rare, because I come from a long line of women that we didn't go to the hospital. My mom and my grandmother and my great-grandmother, they went out in the forest in Sweden picking whatever we needed to heal ourselves. Or so even my mom that got me when she was 17, she was like, no, let's trust the body, So I've always been on that health, trusting the immune system, looking for nature, for whatever that can heal us. I think you're on the same
Yeah.
journey there. So
I
yeah, I
am.
don't.
It's interesting because there's so many things, Kim, there I want to pick up on, because with these chats with everyone watching, we know that you're going through these same sort of questions in your own mind. And I think what you stated there about sort of living in the questions is so, so important. It's one of the things that I'm trying to constantly get better at, because when you're mums, we've spent the last however many years making decisions for our human children, our animal children, and those decisions start before your baby's even born. What are you going to eat when you're pregnant? All these sort of things. So, in one respect, as parents, we've been in that role of sort of having to make decisions for loved ones of whatever species and take the consequences of it, because we don't always get it right. And then in the other respect, we're sort of doing more development, whether you want to call it spiritual development, self-awareness, or whatever ourselves, realizing that we're all on our own journeys. It's such a hard line for people. And I see so many of us struggling with this, Kim, about where do those boundaries lie about putting those warning signals out? If you've got a child or a dog and it's about to run into a road, you're going to yell at it and stop it. But equally, there gets to a stage where people have to, there's free will and making your own decision. And also, who's to say our decisions are any better than theirs? Now, some of the time we might think they are, but they won't. They'll think the opposite. They think we're mad. So
Yeah.
how have you been going through that journey, particularly since the pandemic, and how do you balance that?
Mm. Well, with the kids and taking decisions with the animals and the kids, I mean, our three are, they're old enough now. Our twin boys, they just turned 30 this May. So, but it's still, you're engaged, in their, not the boys so much anymore because they live in Europe and we're in Bali and they do their own thing. But with Emilou, that's still here. Yeah, it's a balance. And what can I say? It's like I muscle test a lot. That's a
Love
big tool
it.
for me,
Yeah.
because I feel that doesn't lie to me. So I always like to ask people questions. What is your daily routine? Have you got a spiritual practice? What does a week look like? And then I can try and if there's something good, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that. And then if it resonates with me, I keep it. If not, I'm like, okay. And also the discipline is crazy to keep when there's something good. Don't you find that? I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
we've been with our spiritual teacher for, what is it now, 18 years? What now she's in Spain, she's Indian, she's absolutely amazing. But you know, the meditation, we were religiously meditating for the first maybe 5 years. And then I was a little bit, now I know that I'm good, and it carries me the whole day if I do a good meditation in the morning. Yet sometimes I wake up, oh, I don't feel like it. So it's like, why don't I take the time to do it? So I don't know if I answer your question, but I think it's really tricky to keep the balance, especially with him.
It's
So
so
how
in,
do you
and I think
daily
so many.
practice? What's your morning practice?
It's such a good question, and I'm with you because, it's like the age-old thing, children do what you do, not what you say. And
Yeah.
for me, I've consciously, the way I sort of work is if I set up a lifestyle that really encourages me to do some really good things. So I've got loads of rescue animals,
Yeah.
and we're lucky enough to live in the middle of the countryside by UK standards. And so my first hour, hour and a half in the morning and my last hour and a half at night are always, and have been for 30 plus years, well, really most of my life, out in nature.
Mm.
I find that so amazing. And I've been criticized so much over the years, Kim, for people saying, oh, why do you have all these animals? It's such a tie. It's such a work. But for me, it's almost, it's such a blessing because then it's not a choice. It's not a question of me sitting there in bed and thinking, am I going to go out and get this connection? So
Mm.
for me, my first hour and a half of the morning, the last hour and a half at night are always out in nature with my animals, which is absolutely priceless for me. Can be stressful when there's something wrong with them, of course, but it's getting me out there, away from the computer screen, away from the noise, connecting in with all animals of all species. As I know you're an animal lover, they can read your energy so much, so I can get that immediate honest feedback that you don't always get from humans,
Yeah.
that where my energy's at and when I made to course correct.
Mm.
Meditation's an interesting one because I love meditating, but I've got quite sporadic with it over the last year,
Mm.
and I haven't made it the priority it needs to be. Journaling again, I'll do religiously for a few weeks at a time, and then I'll go for a few weeks not doing it. So I
Mm.
think my absolutely non-negotiable is getting out in nature for huge amounts of time each day, and I do a lot of movement. I don't go to the gym, but I'm moving out in nature, come wind, rain, snow, whatever.
Yeah.
But the other practices, it's so interesting, and this is why I think a lot of our listeners are at, is you want to know the information and educate yourself or find out more about what's going on in the world, but equally that pulls you away from those spiritual practices. Every YouTube video you're listening to, every podcast you're listening to is time when you could be going within and listening to yourself. So it's a fine line, and
Yeah.
one I find quite difficult to manage, actually, particularly since most of my community now, particularly since the pandemic, has been online, because honestly, I haven't got many people in my immediate community that are wanting to have the discussions and ask the questions that I am.
Mm.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, we're lucky here in Bali. It's an amazing community here of spiritual rebels, or whatever you want to call it, in all different ages, and I think they were like that before we came. We only been here for 3.5 years. Before, we were 20 years in Spain. So, but I feel the same. There's a lot online, and we're so addicted also to the screens. The serotonin in the brain just goes, oh, I need a kick, where's the phone, or where's the laptop? So, but to balance that is super hard with the discipline. I find it's so much easier to just put myself in front of the laptop and I do a little thing, and then I end up on Facebook and I'm scrolling on Marketplace because we need a new little table or whatever. It's like, what am I doing? And I know, but then the trick for me is to not beat myself up about it,
Yeah.
because that doesn't help me. And it's hard enough when I look at the world to keep my own energy and frequency high. And I know, not just for myself, but I need to keep it high for the rest of the world as well, and my close ones, and I mean, it's that ripple effect. But I mean, you being out in nature, when I hear you, I feel jealous, because oh my God, it's my dream to have the animals around me again. In Spain, we had up in the mountain, you know, chickens and geese, and then Milou had a horse and dogs and cats. And here we have 2 cats, and that's it, because I can't live 100% without them.
No.
Because they know, you know, if you're sad, they come, you know, or if you're happy and want to play, they play. So yeah, that's healing and meditation for you. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I could literally, that is my dream, just to give as good a home to as many as possible, and it's just so rewarding. Fear, we mentioned it at the start, Kim, fear and fear vibration. You know, we know there's a stress epidemic in the human race at the moment. There's chemical stress, there's physical stresses, there's emotional stresses. And quite
Yeah.
often, once you sort of wake up to asking these different questions, like what really happened in our history, who were the good
Yeah.
guys, who were the bad guys, because we still often think very much in that duality. At the
Yeah.
moment, one of the biggest questions I get from my audience is, who can I trust?
Mm.
And it's,
Good.
in one respect, we're sort of really preaching and trying to practice ourselves, tuning into our intuition a lot more. Um,
Yeah.
and then, you know, this whole, you know, where do you sit with the savior complex, stepping in and out of fear, and really sort of using your intuition to understand who or what do you trust and what don't you?
Yeah. I mean, if you're talking about the information online, it's hard. It's really hard. And that's a sad thing as well, because then that almost become as an excuse for people not to trust anything,
Yeah,
which is going in the wrong direction completely as well. When it comes to fear within me, mm, I don't think, what do I fear? I fear to be old and poor and in pain.
mm,
I fear. If I fear anything, is to be, you know, have a painful body, and be poor in this system, because I mean, a life is not worth anything if you haven't got big insurances and can't do the alternative treatment. So yeah, that's, otherwise than that, I don't really tap into fear that much. I trust, really. I have a faith and trust that is super steady, super, super steady within me. Because I've experienced beautiful, amazing things. So I stand pretty grounded in my spiritual muscles. I think so. Yeah, but if I'm fearful of anything, it's them 3.
yeah.
What about you? Where's your fear, if you have any?
Yeah, I think for me, with the state of the world at the moment, is not being able to provide food and water that's
Mm.
nourishing to loved ones,
Yeah,
whether it's the animals,
yeah,
people.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do feel that creeping in quite a lot. And, you know, I'm in this sort of dilemma of, you know, needing to work and, you know, bring in an income, but also really wanting to get outside and plant and learn how to grow as much of my own food for myself and the animals as possible. So I think it's gone right back to the sort of almost the core root survival instincts, you know, water, food, shelter, and My attitude is, I like to say, you know, I keep aware of the things that the geoengineering and what's in our skies. I mean, this has been going on for so long because I do so much work with animals. Sort of as a therapist, I've historically worked more with animals than humans, and the animals show us the problems quicker than the humans. So, you know, the horses have been responding to what's in the skies and what's on our food a lot more severely, and humans are almost playing catch up, really. Because of our longer lifespan, problems often take longer or more generations to appear, whilst animals, they have a shorter lifestyle, everything's speeded up. So I think my main fears are literally right at that root level of clean food, clean water, for myself and my loved ones, because honestly, at the moment, I think that's getting more and more difficult to achieve. And also, I think the realization that actually it's so easy for the negative people to control those supplies of food and water as well. So I try and use these daily practices to really balance that out and turn any fear into constructive action. And some days it's easier than others, you know, particularly
Yeah,
when those around you don't necessarily believe there's even a problem.
yeah, absolutely. But you see, people are stuck in fear anyway, though. And I always say, turn off the TV.
Oh,
Just start there,
definitely.
because that's a brainwashing, fear-mongering machine to start with. It really is. And if you look in who's running it, then I mean, then you see it right away. So yeah, because I completely understand you there. Because just getting water, I mean, I'm a water girl. I drink a lot of water.
Mm.
Now we're on Kangen water, which is amazing. We just started it here. We drank it in Spain for years, so, but food as well. What can I trust when it comes to
Mm.
food? Is it ecological? Yeah, but even though the earth that is growing in, what was there before? And it's so many different levels. So yeah, food and water, absolutely. How can we live without it?
So, I really hope you're enjoying this podcast as much as I am. And I just wanted to take a little break to tell you about the amazing products by the sponsor of this podcast, the biophotonic EMF and bioresonance devices, which help us take our healing to the next frequency. So let me start with the bioresonance devices. Biophotonic have two amazing little devices, the little BioNexus and the biophotonic, and both of these are really the next generation in bioresonance devices. So let's start with the little BioNexus. This amazing little device literally sits in the palm of your hand. And it's now my go-to support, especially when doing my daily manifestations and affirmation practices. But it will balance out my frequency to work on whatever needs balancing for me right here, right now. So, what are some of the benefits of this little BioNexus? Improved energy, decreased inflammation, supports our immune system, psychological homeostasis. But also, it supports the integrity of the cells, improves our memory, cognitive, emotional, and psychological states, and speeds up recovery. And just like we've been talking about today, it really improves human consciousness support. Now, the other bioresonance device, the biophotonic, absolutely amazing little device, comes preloaded with a range of therapies. And this will clear parasites, giving active protection. You can wear it with you. It comes in a little pouch that you can wear around your neck, and it detoxifies heavy metals, clears EMF radiation out of cells, cleanses bacteria and viruses, detoxes chemicals and toxins, DNA repair, pain repair, you name it. And it's even got calming meditation practices complexes that you can run to strengthen the aura field, and frequency packs can also be added to your water. I think we all know the detrimental effects now of mobile Bluetooth and EMF radiation. They've been extensively studied, and I've done loads of videos on it. So minimizing our exposure is crucial. So what's really key is both the biophotonic and the BioNexus. They're standalone, lovely little devices, that don't require Bluetooth connection, a Wi-Fi connection. You don't need to buy any frequency packages. There's no subscription fee, and you don't need a mobile phone to control them. There's no electrodes. They're completely wireless, ready to use straight from the box. So you can get these and a full range of EMF protection devices that you can use for yourself and your pets. Don't forget to use coupon code CE20 to get 20% off all products, including the EMF protection. Thank you. And now back to the podcast.
Oh, hang on. I don't give a shit so much what other people say anymore.
I think also, I mean, I saw Bruce Lipton at the weekend, and I think, you know, who you surround yourself with is so, so important. And, you know, he did a full day. He's just coming up to 80 years old. His energy, his vitality, his message. And for me, he really embodies, you know, I love the mind over matter. So, you know, even blessing our food can change the vibration of it and get rid of a lot of nasties. So I think reminding ourselves that there's so much we can do ourselves. And I suppose where I'm at now, Kim, and I'd love your thoughts on this, is, you know, as humans, we've been taught to trust outside the system so much. And I'm not one that likes to talk too much about that, because once you know that's the case, it's like, well, let's not talk about the problem, let's talk about the solution. But everyone's at different levels. You know, some people need to go in different directions to others. But I'm so passionate about getting people, all of us, myself, started, because, you know, there's no point me talking about it if I'm not embodying it myself, about how much control we've got just by understanding our subconscious mind, our subconscious programs, and changing them and using them to our benefit. What journey have you been on that?
Well, lately, since February, when our youngest moved out, I kind of stepped in it, not even choosing it, because some stuff has come up that I need to heal. So at the moment, we have we're going to do a retreat for 7 days, Joe Dispenza, if you know what that is.
Yes, I've seen him a couple of times, but I've never done the full 7 days. So you've done, did you say you've done one? You cut out a minute.
No, we're going to turn everything off on the 8th, but we're doing it for a week, but we're going to do it here at home. So we're going to do the whole program, which is like, it's like between 4 and 5 hour guided meditations every day, and doing all the work and everything. So we're going to do that together here. But I love Bruce Lipton as well, and how, I mean, the yoga philosophy is in my core. That's where my teacher comes from. So and really looking at the thoughts, and really looking at how do I think, because it's like Joe Dispenza says, if you wake up every morning thinking the same things, doing the same things, and then you think, oh, I don't know why everything is nothing is changing. Well, maybe I need to change a little bit myself and start working at it. But again, it takes work. There's no shortcuts, you know, and to the happiness or to the joy or whatever. There's no shortcuts, and we're lazy, or I'm lazy. I'm not going to say we're lazy. I'm lazy by nature when it comes to taking certain steps. You know, I'm not lazy when it comes to coming up with projects and do this and do that. But when it comes to myself, you know, it's like my teacher, she always says, everybody has time to go to the hairdresser, but meditating for half an hour? No, how have you got time for that? You know, that doesn't. So it's interesting, because I see, I mean, I have conversations like this a lot with friends, and they're like, oh my God, the discipline. And some people, they just, I impressed, and it inspires me as well with the people that actually really does it. But normally, when it comes to going to the gym or working out, people have amazing discipline, but the body is quite easy. This one, not so easy, you know. In Raj Yoga, they say our mind is like a monkey stung by a bee, possessed by demons, on acid or something like that, you know. And if we don't control it, it's going to run around like that monkey and just do what it wants. So yeah, but I'm dealing with it at the moment, and I'm really looking at the subconscious mind and the unconscious mind, because my unconscious mind has been trying to protect me my entire life. But certain things that has happened when I was a child or teenager or whatever, that doesn't affect me anymore, but my subconscious mind has still got those programs. Oh, we need to protect you from that, which means now they're just lying there like blockages instead. So I'm working a lot on that at the moment, looking at what is left in my unconscious mind and also in my subconscious mind to kind of free myself from that. And last year, on New Year's Eve, we don't do New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but we like, what's the plan? What do we want for this year and whatever? And the only thing I said, I want to become whole. And this is a year and 6 months ago now. And Jesus, you know, my teacher, she said, be careful what you wish for. Because obviously then, if I want to become whole, shit is going to come to the surface. You know, I'm like, hold on a minute. I wasn't prepared for this, but now I have to deal with it. And I'm up for a challenge, you know, I'm not scared like that. But yeah, so slowly, because I see for myself, it would be the ultimate, you know, if I would be free from everything that weighs me down from the past or my programming or my conditioning or whatever I've been through growing up. I don't know who I am, you know, but I feel there's a strength and there's a power that is brewing. And I think our age as well, suddenly we're like, oh, hang on, I don't give a shit so much what other people say anymore. And I can, oh, you know, it's an interesting and beautiful journey to be on, and also quite daunting at times.
Oh, I love it so much. I went on it's funny, my husband wasn't into meditation at all, and probably about 6 years ago, I bought him his Christmas present a day with Joe Dispenza. And we went along, and he was quite reluctant to go along. He's really good. He lives in the moment a lot anyway. He literally does not put his attention on anything negative at all. I mean, you know, don't tell him, he won't watch, so don't tell him. It is quite impressive how he doesn't do that. So anyway, but unfortunately, one of the ladies I also was going to the Joe Dispenza retreat with, she was suffering with really severe cancer. So he knew he had to be on his best behavior and take it seriously. I honestly think if she had not been there, and it was quite a responsibility to respect her need to really get the most out of it, he might not have been so present there. Anyway, he came out of that one day a changed man, a completely changed man, because I tried to get him to listen to stuff online, but he wasn't interested because it was me telling him. But when he experienced it himself and the energy himself, he was so blown away, because you can't see people like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and not realize these people are really walking the talk. From then, we did a couple of weekends with him. We haven't done the whole week retreat yet, but again, each time the most remarkable things have happened. So it's so exciting as a race when there's so much. We do need to know some of these things, in my opinion, that are going on so we can make the best choices for ourselves and the safest choices. But when we realize how much power and potential we've got to really live the best lives possible, and that will affect, with, you know, all the quantum entanglement, everyone we interact with. It's so exciting. So I'm so excited to hear that you two are doing that. I can't wait to hear. I mean, you've inspired me to get on and do it now, because I didn't realize you could do it online.
Yeah, he's got courses that you can buy on his website, and you know, the books, and yeah, you can do it, because we were checking where he's doing. It was too far and too much for both of us to go, you know, to the other side of the world. We're like, but I said we can do it here, you know, we just turn everything off, basically. And now I've made the schedule, so it's up. First meditation is 5:30 in the morning. We're actually going to follow, because I asked AI, you know, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I said, can I have a schedule of a 7-day Joe Dispenza? And it just came out, you know.
Amazing.
So,
amazing. Right, I'm going to do the same. And I think everyone listening, you know, be inspired by that. You know, we can make excuses a lot because it is expensive, and some people You know, for me,
Yeah.
it's quite difficult to leave all the animals and everything. But so
Yeah.
therefore, mind you, that's probably an excuse because there are brilliant people out there that can come and look after them. So, but yeah, it's so easy to make excuses. So,
Yeah.
for people, Kim, that are watching that are sort of caught in the intel loop, because a lot of people, when they are starting to ask different questions about their world, I mean, when you described at the start about how for you it was like, well, yeah, I've known all this a lot. It's exactly what I found out. People talk about when you find out this information, people are going to shock. I was completely the opposite.
Mm,
Because I was like, oh yeah, it all makes sense how I was feeling all along now. So it
yeah.
is quite interesting. Obviously, everyone will deal with it differently. But for people that are caught in the intel loop that are watching, um, you know, what advice or words of wisdom have you got for them?
Words of wisdom.
You've got
That,
loads of words of wisdom. I've seen
uh,
you in chat.
have how do you mean in the intel world that they just starting to tap into the information that is not from the mainstream, or?
Yeah, information that's not from the mainstream, realizing that the world is not as we seem and that there might be people that haven't got their best intentions making
Yeah.
some of these decisions. Because let's face it, to a lot of people that aren't psychopaths, which is
Yeah.
most people, it's very hard to believe that, you know, the New World Order, Agenda 2020, because a lot of these things you could look at them from an innocent eye and think, well, that's good to save the
Yeah.
environment, that's good to do this.
Mhm.
So it's shocking to a lot of people, but what I've seen, Kim, is a lot of people then just spend their whole day consuming information and finding out more and more and more without integrating.
Mhm. Yeah, I find um, either there's kind of two people there as well. You find it, oh, this makes sense, and it almost feels like a relief, you
Mm,
know. Then you take snippets here and there of information which you can handle, or there's the other ones that are just digging way too deep for their own sanity, and they just go down the rabbit hole in every area of history, basically. Because if you
yeah,
start, I mean, the history books are just a lot of, sorry, bollocks, but
complete.
they are. So I think, I mean, I always say, listen to yourself, know yourself. What can you handle? If it drags you down, step away. It's that simple. And then take little snippets or little pockets of, and find other people to have discussions with where it's friendly and comfortable, not, oh, we have to go and hang them by the lamppost, revenge, you know, it's like that energy. So I think because during the COVID as well, where everybody's starting digging, not only there, but they're starting to realize that we've been had in so many different areas. So many people got confused and angry, and I'm like, that's not the energy that is helping you or anybody. So trying to find that balance and know yourself. I mean, who are you really? That's I've been asking the kids this question since they were kids. Who are you? And they are still laughing about it because I've done it my entire life with their friends, their teenagers. Suddenly I bump into their room and I'm hanging a little bit, and then I'm go, who are you?
Mm.
Who are you? You know your boundaries. It's different for everybody. But if it drags you down, you're allowed to step away. I mean, we can't have the world on our shoulders, but we can do little to help change, whatever passion. Your passion is in saving animals, but somebody wants to save the rainforest
Mm.
or help the elderly or whatever. But everybody can do a little bit. And that I feel also with that balance to help somebody or something in need is also keeping that balance, because that lifts you. So doing a bit of charity work is almost selfless because you feel so damn good about it. You just
It's
want to do
so
more.
true. Oh, I love that. It's so true. And when you look at the research they've done into the blue zones all over the world, having that purpose and being needed and helping others is like the number one consistent thing
Yeah.
across. I absolutely love that, Kim. And I think, I do really empathize with everyone for whatever stage you're going through. And a lot of people do stay online a lot because they haven't got people in their local communities
Yeah.
that they can have these discussions with.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it can be great. There's so much more I could talk to you about, but I'm conscious of the time. I really hope you'll come back again and we can have some more of these chats because I just absolutely love it. And everyone watching, please let us know below, what questions you're wanting to see discussed and things, because we'd love to hear that. But how's the best way for people to connect with you, Kim, and your work?
It's true. I have a website called awakeandunite.com where I write. I'm a little bit on pause at the moment, but there's like 70, 80. You can listen or read. I got my books there and my art as well. So that's the best place, I think, to find me.
Brilliant. And I know we can't go without just mentioning, I think Ole's got a seminar coming up. So I will put his links below because both of you, I know that you're an incredible supporter for his work as well. And, he has been instrumental in a lot of people sort of really taking back some level of power and stopping some of these things happening before they actually do. So I will be putting all Ole's links below, and please do sign up to the respective newsletters, everyone, because you get some amazing information through. And I absolutely love your website, Kim. I love your writing. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
You're doing great work as well, Catherine. I mean, it's amazing. I just checked out, yeah, because we're just getting to know each other a little bit.
I just really hope that we can.
I'm like, oh my God, this woman is so productive. I felt like, whoa, this is inspiring.
I love having these real conversations because, so much about, pretending everything's perfect in all our lives and we've got it all sorted. And, we're meant to enjoy the journey, aren't we? We're really meant to enjoy the journey. And I think this has been one of my lessons. I must say, Kim, I do really agree with you. I love being this age. I love because you let go of a lot of what doesn't serve you. But I still feel like, with my health, like one of the things I have lost about, I used to be a gymnast and I'm so unsupple now because I've been doing lots of lifting stuff for the animals and digging and stuff. So you've got that awareness to sort of say, how can I course correct before I get any older and lose some of these abilities, perhaps? But also you just don't care so much as you did, or I did when I was younger. So it's really nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really want to know, anyone watching this, all your comments below. What else would you like to see us discussing about? All the links for Kim and Ole will be below. Please do go and check out their work. It's amazing. And thank you so much, Kim. Until next time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. And above all, stay curious and stay free.